Hello, and welcome to Managing Remotely in the New Normal, a training series for managers in events and transportation. My name is Gina Beery, and I'm really happy to be here with you and go over the next 7 sessions of great information that we have for you. These are called micro trainings, and that just means that they're roughly 3 to 5 minute training sessions full of bite sized information so you can get through them quickly and be on with your day. So, without further ado, I'm going to get us into the learning objectives that we have for this series at large. So, the first thing I'll cover is that we want to discover the nuances of how a virtual reality can impact team culture. The next thing that we'll accomplish in this series is that we'll review today's challenges with managing a remote workforce and then understand some of the options you have for addressing them. And lastly, what we hope to accomplish through this series is discussing best practices to keep employees engaged. It's a little more difficult now than ever before. So, the first thing I want to do is start with how culture is created. So, we have a great diagram here from Brandman University, and at the on the left hand side of the screen you see where it starts with leaders, and leaders are in positions of formal authority and decision making, and so they're really the ones who steer the ship here. In the middle there are four different elements that leaders interact with that serve as the building blocks for the larger culture of an organization. So the first is the actions and behaviors of leaders, what they do, and just as importantly, what they don't do. The next is what leaders pay attention to. There's only so many hours in the day, and so their attention and their bandwidth is very limited. So what they pay attention to is what employees will in turn pay attention to. The next is what gets rewarded and what gets punished. So that can encompass both mindsets and behaviors, things that people do, ways that people interact with their environment that will show up in how they go about getting a job done. So, for example, do they have a fixed mindset where they think that they've reached the end all be all in their position because they've been there for 10, 20, 30 years? Or do they have a growth mindset where they embrace change in as much as they can? We know that change is challenging no matter what type of change you're experiencing. Are they adaptable? Are they versatile? Do they embrace new and even maybe better ways of doing things? And then the last is the allocation of attention and resources. So, what gets a line item in the budget? All of these things will help to create teams' culture. And there's a saying from Jack Welch that culture eats strategy for breakfast. And I love that because you can have the best strategic goals or well intentioned direction for your ship. But if your culture is one that does not embrace innovation, um, you're going to have a real tough and potentially slow time of getting where you want to go. So, to that end, I wanted to share the strategic goals for the department at this juncture. And there are four different categories here. Those four categories come from the larger administration goals. And those are customers, workforce capabilities, so our people, our employees, business processes, how we get done what we need to get done, and how we uh, provide our services to the campus community, and lastly, financial. So, under each of these four banners or buckets, if you will, there are goals. And under those goals, there are measurements that we have. So, I'll cherry pick just two to go through because we don't have the time in this session to go through all of them. But let's take customers first. So, the goal here for the department is to improve the customer experience. Okay, that's great. Well, how will we know that we've actually accomplish that, number one? And number two, how will we know that we're on our way to doing that? So that's where measurements come in. So there are three measurements under this goal. The first is customer satisfaction, and we can take the temperature of that with our customer satisfaction scores. The next is the service response and resolution time. So, when a complaint or an issue comes in, how long does it take us to respond to the customer and then finally to actually resolve what their issue is? And then the last here is the number of services launched and or improved. So we can numerically number that and get some data to help us understand if we are on our way to improving the customer experience. And then the second and last one that I'll cover is workforce capabilities. So we have two goals here: to build and engage a high performing workforce, and to provide technology solutions to heighten the capacity and productivity efficiencies of our employees. So some measurements that we have here is the work environment. And so we do a survey on that, as you well know. And so what do our work environment survey scores tell us about our work environment? The second is training hours. How many hours are completed per employee in the department and in each unit in the department? And then lastly, we can track the number of new ideas implemented to help us along our journey of building and engaging a high performing workforce. A happy employee is a productive employee. So at UCLA, we love acronyms. And so this training session is no different. We have an acronym here, remote, that will guide us through the next 6 sessions of our time together. And so the first one here is, as you can see, R for ready your space. So that's what we'll be talking about in the next session. I thank you for your time being here, and I really look forward to seeing you as we go through the rest of this series on managing remotely. So this is a little heads up as to what's in store next. All right, bye for now. I'll see you next time.